And we're back. Of course, I would forget to turn on the mic before this. So, as you guys have been listening to WDSR, we're joined tonight by two of our PA students as they're willing to talk to us about what their life has been like adjusting to PA, why they chose the subject. So how about we start off with you guys' names and where you guys are from?
My name is Lila Janisic. I'm originally from the Pocono Mountains, Lake Wallenpaupack, maybe you've heard of it. And currently I live in a little town called Quakertown, 20 minutes west of here.
Nice. And my name is Mary Furta. I am originally from Rockville, Maryland, a little bit outside Washington, D.C., and right now I'm living in Coopersburg.
Both good small county cities. I mean, I know Quakertown, I've been through it a lot. I grew up Bartow, which is up from Quakertown toward East Greenville and then east a while.
Yeah, it's a fine little town. Check it out.
Nice little town. So we're going to move on into some of the questions. So we're going to start off with, what led you into wanting to be PAs?
So originally, when I went into undergrad, I had been pre-med, and I was all set to go to med school. I took all the classes. I even took the MCAT. I was pretty much set. But then after enduring the MCAT and going to a few open houses for med schools, I really felt like it wasn't for me. It was really intense, and I just felt like something was off. And so then I started looking. I had talked to a few other people who were interested in PA school, and my mom looked into it more too. And so we went on a few other open houses for PA schools, and when I went to those, I was just wowed. Like, I felt as if this would be the perfect job for me, because it's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in medicine. I wanted to take care of patients. I wanted to solve problems, solve puzzles, and that's why I wanted to be a PA.
And my story is a little bit different. So growing up, I had a very inherent fear of medicine, of doctors and hospitals, blood especially.
Oh gosh.
So I didn't want to go anywhere near a career in medicine. I did an undergraduate degree in English, and I was studying for the LSATs to go to law school.
Wow.
I was going to be an immigration lawyer. Still wanted to help people. I wanted to help immigrants, and that was something that was important to me. But my mom got sick with kidney cancer in 2010, and I kind of volunteered to help take her to her doctor's appointments and to her infusions and treatments, and that was a big deal for me because I was really afraid of that kind of stuff. Like I said, doctors and hospitals, I was scared to death. But I wanted to help my mom. So after taking her and spending time with physicians and physician assistants and the healthcare team, I got this weird thought in my head that I wanted to do medicine, which is so strange. And then when I decided to research what could I do in medicine, I found the physician assistant career. And I said, that sounds amazing. It's not exactly a doctor or a surgeon. It's I could just do like family practice and still help people and maybe not have to see so much blood and gore. And I think I could do it. And I had to go back to school because I didn't have any undergraduate science. So it was a really long path for me. But here I am.
And I will say, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from the gore. The only sad part is, my major involves forensics, so I see pictures of car crash victims daily.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
And gunshot victims, and it's like, oh, good lord.
Yeah. Strong stomach.
But I think you guys both got on a topic there that really fits into the question that I have is, why PA? Why not something like a physical therapist, an occupational therapist? Going to med school, as you said, you had looked into med school, so that gives me a reason for you. But why not a nurse practitioner as well for either of you?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it's logistics. Well, some of it was logistics because I'm older. I'm an older student. I'm 35 years old, and this is kind of like a second career for me. So to be a nurse practitioner, I'd have to go to nursing school first, and that's a lot of time dedicated. And I really wanted to be in a position once I decided I wanted to do medicine, where I would be, diagnosing, kind of solving puzzles, like Mary said. I like the idea of putting together the pieces and trying to figure out what's wrong with someone and how we can fix it or what solution we can arrive at. where as a nurse, it's more, taking care of the patient. It's not. It's more patient-centered and less disease-centered, I guess, is why I picked it.
That makes sense
I
to
liked
me.
that the physician assistant program is more actual, like, evidence-based medicine, like following the same medical teachings as med schools
Right.
do. While nursing has that nursing background, where they just have a different approach to medicine compared to med schools and PA schools.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so then a bigger question. Why DeSales? I mean, Mary has clearly said she looked over dozens of physician's assistant programs, but why here?
I had applied to, I think, 10 different PA schools up and down the East Coast. I knew I wanted to go somewhere on the East Coast. And so it came down to, I think, about 3 schools. And I made pros and cons list to every single place. And DeSales just really impressed me. When I went to the interview, I could not believe the equipment that they had, the supplies that they had. Everything was state of the art. They had a simulation center. They had a full cadaver lab where we actually got to dissect. It was just really, really impressive. And you hear about all the other schools that are ranked like number 1 or number 2 in U.S. and World News. But just the whole picture of DeSales and how they presented themselves and how I got a feel from the students and the faculty, it just really made me want to come here.
Yeah, and I was impressed, with all of those things as well. And something that really stood out to me was when I was considering DeSales, it was on my radar. I had already been, I had actually been accepted to another school as well. But the street medicine clinic, I have a friend who's friends with the person who runs that, Brett Feldman, and she had posted a video on her Facebook page about street medicine. And then that led me down the path of discovering about the DeSales clinic that we have here, where we treat for free homeless people in the Lehigh Valley in Allentown. Yeah, and that was amazing to me because that is such a need in our area and in every area, but especially in the Allentown and Lehigh Valley area.
It's a noble pursuit, considering how much of a percentage that I remember from my days of studying Allentown, how much of a homeless and street-dependent population we do have in Allentown.
Exactly. And I said to myself, if that kind of method is at the center of their approach to medicine, then that's absolutely where I want to be, because that is putting the patient first.
Yeah, no matter what. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, what they did in a past life.
Right, exactly.
Take care of your patient.
Right.
And that makes complete sense to me. So then you talk about care of patients. Did you guys have any clinical experience before you came to DeSales?
No. Well, I did. I had no clinical experience whatsoever because I was scared of it. Didn't go near it. But once I decided I wanted to be a PA, you have to get into a program, you have to have a certain amount of clinical experience. So I decided to do medical assisting, and I did a medical assisting certificate at Bucks County Community College, and I worked as a medical assistant in a primary care office, a doctor's office, for 3 years before I actually started the program in August.
Nice.
I got my CNA license before I graduated college, and so I was a CNA for about 1.5 years on a stroke unit, and it really just opened my eyes to how much work goes into caring for patients inpatient. Like, it was really eye-opening. Like AccuChecks, checking everyone's blood sugar, checking everyone's blood pressure, checking it again if it was too high. It was and I also was able to see how much teamwork is involved in caring for patients. It's not all about the doctor, it's not all about the MP, it's not all about the PA. It's really, you depend on your techs, you depend on your nurses, you depend on the housekeepers, because if that room isn't clean, the patient's not going to be happy. Like, you need a safe, clean environment, and I really was able to see how much of a team effort it was, and I really liked that.
Always good to know that teams work, and that's the best part of, I think, any group sport, any activity like the medical field and the chemistry field. If you're working on a research team, you get experience, and the team you can't function on your own.
Yeah, everyone has something important to add.
Yeah.
So what have you guys enjoyed about being in the PA school up till this point?
I have enjoyed all of the experiences that I've had that are new for me. So coming into it with not really a science background and coming into it with not an extensive clinical background, I feel like we are faced with a lot of challenges in general in the program. A lot of exams, a lot of studying, a lot of things we've never seen before, like dissecting cadavers. And they're challenges, but after we surpass each of them, after we finish an exam, after we dissect a body part that we thought would maybe gross us out, I feel stronger after doing that, and I feel more and more convinced that this is what I want to do, and this is something that I can do, and it's really been so empowering, the program, to make me feel confident that I chose the right career path.
Yeah, I get really excited when I know things. Because we just went through gastroenterology, and so on my clinical rotation this morning, we have like Friday morning rotations where we go visit sites, and she was talking about how this patient recently had gastric cancer and talking about the treatment for it, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I just learned this. It's really nice to actually think, hey, I learned this in a class and I'm actually using it in real life, because you take those classes where you think, well, I'll never use that in real life, and all of the classes that we take are, I'm going to need to know this for real life. This is life.
I can't forget this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Unlike some of the gen ed classes that I know, I've seen freshmen that it goes in one year and out the other very quickly.
Right.
Yeah. We got to be sponges.
Oh, yes,
sure.
very quickly soaking up. So what has been the biggest surprise for both of you for PA school thus far?
Biggest surprise.
I think for me is that I heard from several people, they describe it as it is drinking water out of a fire hydrant, and like I thought I knew what that was. Like, I get that it's a lot of information coming at me, and I thought, okay, it's fine. It's only going to be 1 year where it's just information constantly thrown at us, and I thought I would know what that was like, and I was sadly mistaken, and it has been a lot more adjustment period than I thought it would to learn all the information that we're learning.
Right. I agree. I feel like no one can prepare you enough for what it's like until you go through it. And even when you're trying to explain it to somebody else, like your family member or your friend, and you feel like you're being very descriptive of how difficult it is, they can't get it, and you can't get it unless you're immersed in it. That surprised me too.
It's not like a typical grad school. It's like really specific and
intense.
Yeah, it's really intense.
And I mean, heck, there's parents that don't understand what their kids are doing at an undergrad level. I mean, I talk to my parents about analytical chemistry, and they're like, you lost me at ICPOES and all that.
Yeah.
So I feel for you guys where you're coming from. It's just like, it's very hard to lower a level in such a way to explain it so that somebody can understand.
Exactly. And we had 4 exams this week.
Yeah.
4
Oh,
exams.
Lord.
That's fun.
God bless you, ladies.
And we survived.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, you talked about clinicals. Now, what clinicals have you either most enjoyed or are looking forward to the most for this year and next for rotations?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to, if we're able to do the street medicine rotation. That's something that we're able to do as students. I'm really looking forward to that. Going out into the streets and into the woods, actually. So we have a homeless population kind of on the periphery that we don't even see in our day-to-day. That is like a community in the woods. Going out to them with like a backpack and like your boots and like medical supplies, and just kind of being a vision of like help for them. I find that that's going to be really rewarding, and I hope that I'll be able to do that rotation.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to the free clinic, and I'm also really interested in neurology. Most of my background is like I worked on a stroke unit. I also worked as a research coordinator on in a neurology department as well. So I really like that. I think it's just because I already know it, so I feel confident in it.
Yeah.
But
That makes sense.
But those are definitely things that I want to do.
Do you want to do neurology as a PA?
I think I do, but today I actually had internal medicine, which I thought that I would not like because I was an inpatient CNA, and I thought, that's probably just not for me. But I went today, and I had a fantastic time. I really enjoyed it. I liked that in internal medicine, you're really, and like similar to how like family practice is that you're taking care of the whole patient. You're really looking at every single problem that your patient has, and you're like helping them fix each problem that they're having and treating the whole patient.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really nice. I like treating holistically,
Mm-hmm.
getting the whole gestalt of the patient and making sure that their whole life is like healthy and safe and good. It's
And that's
makes me
good.
happy.
And I think Lila jumped our question, the next question, which was, do you have any idea of what field of medicine you'd actually want to end up practicing?
Yeah, so I actually want to do family medicine, surprising, or this might surprise you, psychiatry. You can be a physician assistant and work in psychiatry as well.
Right.
You can actually be a physician assistant and work anywhere
yeah.
that you could think of.
That's-
a prison, obviously like the hospital, the doctor's office, any kind of specialty, because you graduate as an expert in general medicine. You're in general medicine, so you can work anywhere.
Yeah, that's also a reason I really like the physician assistant career, because I feel like maybe I think that I will like this like specialty
Right.
or whatnot,
But
and
if
then
you don't, you can always switch
yeah,
out
I
to
can always
something else.
switch. Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about all the questions I have for you. If you guys have any closing remarks to sell a little bit of the PA program to some of our students out there that might look for a career in it.
Yeah, I would say if you've ever had like a tug at your heart that you might want to do medicine, but you've either been like hesitant about it because maybe you don't think you're, smart enough, or you don't think you're brave enough, or whatever it is, look into the physician assistant program, because you are smart enough and you are brave enough, and you could really, really make an impact in the world, doing something good, doing a career that's going to help a lot of people, and be really rewarding for you. Just look into it.
I agree.
Okay, then that's about all the time we have. So we're going to put you back on to College Radio Day, WDSR.